is that I was a pretty squirrely, immature kid, 17, 18, 19, 20 into college. One of the things you're finding out about Damar Hamlin is the charity, the toy drive he's been part of. I don't go to as many games as I used to, but when I was local in Tampa or Portland, Oregon, or Las Vegas, there would often be toy drives. I think Rasheed Wallace in Portland did a coat drive. I'm always amazed at how much athletes give back. Obviously, we pay or we watch, and they're entertaining us. But last night is a stark reminder that we also have to protect them. They give a ton to our communities. All my years of doing this, I'm taken back how lucky these leagues are to have these young people who are so committed. I mean, a football season ends, and if you take 3 weeks off, you're almost shamed. You have to get back in practice. They work so hard. A college player getting ready for the pros, he'll go to Florida and Phoenix the minute his season is over and train right into a professional OTA. That's why many rookie players by week 13 or 14 are more prone to injury and exhaustion. They call it hitting a wall because they've literally gone a year straight. No time off, no vacation, no resting your body, trying to be a professional. So much of what makes sports gripping is the good emotion. I've been watching some of these bowl games, and I don't even know any of these players, and they're so emotional, and my heart goes out to a kid who misses a kick. So it's understood. I was sick to my stomach last night. I just was sick to my stomach. I did not want to go on social media. I didn't have anything I could add. Disappointed by some of the stuff I saw. But in the end, this is a stark reminder that athletes are not just here for our entertainment. They have to be protected at whatever costs it takes. Now, it's football. It's really fast and it's really strong. But this is why they put in those roughing the passer penalties, and this is why they put in all these regulations. This is exactly why. This is the greatest fear for anybody who loves sports. We've all thought about this. I saw something at a college game yesterday where a football player for Tulane was knocked out, and I mean, I just felt sick. So we're all crossing our fingers. We're hoping for very good news. We are going to cover some sports today, but we'll keep coming back to this. It's going to be a somber show and should be a little somber today. I will say this. There is a story, a college story that's becoming a pro story, that Jim Harbaugh will accept the job for the Denver Broncos if he is offered the job. Now, I had said yesterday, I think Michigan's a wonderful, wonderful place. He's done a great job. I wouldn't leave. But I was told by later yesterday afternoon, they're going to offer him $20 million. So that kind of changes things. Number one is, in college football, when you're paid a lot as a coach, you often feel guilty because the players aren't being compensated, most of them. In pro sports, you don't. You just have to win very, very quickly, or the billionaire owner will fire you. So if you take $20 million a year from Denver, you're going to have to win by year 2, and you better show big improvement by year 1, or they'll just see it as a rounding error and fire you. But there's a reason the $20 million price tag changes everything. Number one, it's a very, very rare commitment. Average NFL coach makes $7, $8, $9 million. That's a lot of money. $20 million is a whole different ballgame. And the other thing to remember is Jim Harbaugh did get a salary reduction. That's incredibly rare for a high-profile coach by the Michigan administration, and he was bothered by it. I've also been told that Sean Payton is a team that the owners are looking at. So Sean Payton's the number one option for any team. Harbaugh's number 2. Harbaugh had a very good record as a pro coach. I think he won like 44 games and lost 18 or 19. He was a terrific coach, and he took over a mess in the Bay Area and turned it around immediately. But Sean Payton's the top coach. He's got a Super Bowl, and he's an offensive genius. If I was Sean Payton's agent, I would tell him, let somebody else clean up the Denver situation. That will be the new starting point for elite coaches. You may have to wait a couple of years, but if Denver's owners are going to pay $20 million, the salaries are going to take a giant leap, and you can benefit off that in a couple of years. But what I've seen over the course of my life, I've seen this for broadcasters, I've seen this for players in all sports, I've seen it for executives. I'm not an executive, obviously. If you ever take a job just for money, it almost never pans out. It just doesn't. You've got it. There's a sea of money out there for talented people. Join good communities. Join good teammates. If money is the driving focus on any job, it almost always comes with unrealistic expectations. But back to the beginning of this story, very, very good reporters. Bruce Feldman works at Fox. I'm sorry I don't have the other people. Bruce Feldman is one of the 2 or 3 people that is reporting this morning that Harbaugh would accept the Denver Bronco job if it is offered. I am told the salary is $20 million for Harbaugh. It would be greater for Sean Payton, mid-20s. That's what I know. J-Mac with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Start with the Philadelphia Eagles, who can clinch the number 1 seed with a victory this weekend. Jalen Hurts limited in practice last week. Friday did not end up playing against the Saints. There are reports that indicate he will be healthy enough to go. Too early in the week to tell for sure, but he should start against the Giants. The market is telling you that. The line's up to 14. Giants probably going to sit some guys. Eagles need the number 1 seed. Colin, would you force Hurts back this early? Or?
I think this goes back to let's ask the people that are around him. Let's ask Jalen. Let's ask the trainer. Professional athletes always want to play. This is the Miami situation, which we talked about last week, that's more nuanced than people think. Tua wants to be out there. His career hangs in the balance. So Tua wants to play. The Dolphins are like, no, we're not letting you play. So I think you go to the player second. You go to the doctors first. So I especially after last night, we're all reluctant to say play injured, but this is why teams have team doctors. You go to the player second. You go to the doctors first. What do they say?
The New England Patriots, rough season all around, but they're still in the mix for a playoff spot. And owner Robert Kraft not happy where they stand right now. Friend of the show, Albert Breer, of course, he comes on here regularly. He reports that Kraft is not pleased with the team's offensive coaching setup, with Patricia, Joe Judge, and Belichick all kind of juggling roles. Here's what Breer had to say. My understanding is Kraft has made comments around the building that basically indicate he's not happy with where the offensive coaching staff is right now. I think that they could lead to shuffling at more than just the play caller spot. We could be talking about a new coordinator coming in with multiple position new coaches. I think there are several guys on the staff who are not going to be renewed after the year. Now, listen, Mac Jones and the offense did not look sharp against the Dolphins defense that I think was down 6 starters. Entire secondary was backups.
Yeah.
And New England really needed a pick 6 to get back in that game.
Yeah, New England's winning with defense and special teams. That's how they're winning games.
They got lucky to beat Skylar Thompson, the 3rd-string quarterback.
Yeah, and I also think what happens is it's first of all, you have a sport where you're often missing top players. So not all losses are equal. Not all crises are equal. But this was a predictable snafu. Like, we all knew you can't put a defensive coordinator as offensive coordinator. So when somebody does that and it backfires, you really put yourself in the crosshair of criticism. I had said before the season that I thought this would be Belichick's last year, that Kraft would have a sit-down with him. I feel like it's just Bill wants to coach a certain way and with certain coaches and players, and that's not the winning way. Sometimes you have to coach players you're not in love with. You have to have coaches on your staff you may have disagreements with. This is not perfect, and Bill's tolerance for that, I think, is somewhat limited. He has voiced that to people that he wants to coach only certain guys in certain ways. So and also when stuff leaks to the press, it's because somebody wants it to leak to the press. So this is Kraft firing stuff out there. He wants Belichick to read it.
Someone floated to me a scenario where, hey, remember, Bill Belichick